The roads of fate led him to the edge of the inhabited world, to a city lost among ancient cliffs. This man's name was Elias, and the fire in his eyes had long since gone out. In his travel bag lay the only object he never parted with, an antique magnifying glass set in a heavy bronze frame. Elias believed he was searching for the truth, but the truth he found was merciless. Whenever he arrived in a new town, he would take out his magnifying glass and point it at house walls, the faces of passers-by, and the fruit in gardens. Elias saw deep cracks in once majestic temples. He noticed rot at the core of the ripest apples. On people's faces, his instrument exposed hidden wrinkles of malice, exhaustion, and deceit. "This world is rotten," Elias would whisper, his heart tightening with icy sorrow. "There is nothing in it but decay, filth, and falsehood." Every day was filled with disappointment, and the world around him seemed like a suffocating grey desert. He felt like the only sighted man among the blind, condemned to carry the burden of a terrible truth. One evening at sunset, when the sky was painted in crimson and gold, Elias came upon a house that seemed abandoned. There, in the shade of a tree, sat a woman. In her hands was a magnifying glass exactly like his own, but she was not looking at the ground. She held the lens toward the setting sun, catching its last rays, and her face shone with pure childlike wonder. Elias stepped closer. His voice trembled with years of accumulated pain. "What are you so happy about, foolish woman? Lower your glass. Look at this world as it really is. The earth is covered in cracks. Slimy creatures crawl beneath our feet, and people are drowning in sin. Can't you see how ugly everything is?" The woman slowly lowered her hand. Her eyes, filled with boundless peace and warmth, met Elias's gaze. "My brother," she said softly, her voice like the rustling of wind through the treetops. "We hold the same tools in our hands, but we are looking at different things." She held out her magnifying glass to Elias and pointed to a barely noticeable wildflower. "Look there," she whispered. Elias raised the lens to his eyes, and his breath caught. The world around him seemed to stand still. In a droplet of water resting on a petal, the entire vast blazing sunset sky was reflected. The flower's delicate veins, invisible to the naked eye, glowed from within with a pure emerald light, as though filled with life itself. In that moment, Elias no longer saw a crack in a stone, but a great miracle of perseverance. He saw fragile life triumphing over solid rock. "My glass," the woman said quietly, "was not made to search for flaws. It exists to bring closer to the heart the beauty that others fail to notice. I see how perfectly a butterfly's wings formed. I see a divine pattern in an ordinary leaf. Your glass magnifies dirt, mine multiplies light." At that moment, Elias felt a wall he had spent years building collapse within him with a thunderous crash. Tears burned his eyes. He realized that the world had never been ugly. What was ugly was his choice, to notice only the darkness. The world around him remained a vast, living, breathing ocean where both filth and holiness existed side by side. And it depended only on the person himself whether to turn life into endless examination of dust or into the contemplation of the stars.